Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. 90-Day Fiancé, Sumit Singh broken after devastating loss. 90-Day Fiancé fans are used to happy updates from Sumit Singh and Jenny Slatin. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case recently. What happened with Sumit that has him so devastated? When Sumit Singh or Jenny Slatin updates their fans on social media, it's usually with feel-good updates. A recent example is Jenny Slatin and her husband attending Rishi Singh's wedding as guests. These are the kinds of updates that many followers have grown accustomed to. When Jenny and Sumit aren't getting all dressed up for weddings, they are usually exploring everything that India has to offer. They regularly explore different parts of the country and experience various activities. Best of all, they do it while enjoying one another's company. It's something 90-Day Fiancé fans love to see after all the years they spent fighting for their relationship. There are a lot of stray dogs in India. A lot of areas are overrun with them. Jenny and Sumit are some of the most kind-hearted people anywhere. Because of this, they regularly do things like feed neighborhood strays, even adopting some of them. Unfortunately for Sumit Singh, he is currently heartbroken by his latest devastating loss. The man from India took to social media to tell his followers that one of his beloved fur babies crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Sumit Singh wrote, "Sorry to say, but my Tudu died. I tried to save him and took him to the vet, but he didn't survive." Sumit didn't go into detail regarding what happened, but it's a painful loss that he feels deeply. Sumit and Jenny are both animal lovers, and losing a furry family member is never easy. In addition to having a soft spot for each other, Jenny Slatin and Sumit Singh have a soft spot for animals. Back in 2021, the couple revealed that they adopted 4 dogs and their mother. They took care of a street dog and her 4 babies, totaling 5 dogs. Tragedy struck when they lost one of the pups in 2023, Spotty. They named the puppies Spotty, Pepper, Dusky, and Tanner. Sadly, they now add the loss of Tutu to that list. Many 90-Day Fiancé fans are reaching out with condolences for Sumit and Jenny during this period of mourning for them. One 90-Day Fiancé fan wrote, "How sad. So sorry for your loss." Another fan chimed in, saying, "I am so sorry, Sumit, sending you healing." A third said, "I'm sorry, but thank you for trying to save that poor lil soul." The vibrant streets of India, once bustling with life and joy, now seemed muted to Sumit Singh. The cacophony of market vendors hawking their goods, the rhythmic clang of rickshaw bells, and the smell of freshly baked naan from roadside stalls, all of it felt hollow, like a melody missing its soul. For Sumit, life had been a roller coaster ever since he joined 90-Day Fiancé. His relationship with Jenny Slatin, filled with trials and triumphs, had captivated fans around the world. But nothing could have prepared him for the heartbreak he now faced, a loss so profound it felt like the world had stopped spinning. A sudden darkness. It all began with a phone call. Sumit had been at his parents' home, attempting to bridge the fragile gap between them and Jenny. His mother's scornful remarks had filled the air, as usual, but Sumit had grown used to the tension. Then his phone buzzed. "Sumit bhai," came the voice on the other end, trembling. It was a childhood friend. "I have some bad news." The words that followed shattered Sumit's world. His beloved grandmother, Nani, had passed away. The matriarch of his family, the one person who had accepted Jenny without question, was gone. Sumit sank into the nearest chair, his head in his hands. "No," he whispered, his voice breaking. "Not Nani. She can't be gone." Nani had been more than a grandmother to Sumit. She was his confidant, his sanctuary. Unlike his parents, who had opposed his unconventional love story, Nani had embraced Jenny with open arms. Love is love, she'd said with a twinkle in her eye, her wrinkled hand resting on Jenny's. A flood of memories. In the days following Nanny's death, Sumit found himself adrift in a sea of memories. He recalled how Nanny had sneaked him sweets as a child, whispering, "Don't tell your mother." He remembered the evenings spent on her balcony, sharing stories about her younger days and listening to her wisdom. Jenny, ever the supportive partner, did her best to comfort him. She held him as he cried, her heart breaking for the man she loved. "She was so proud of you, Sumit," Jenny whispered one evening as they sat together in their living room. "She always believed in us." But grief has a way of isolating even the most devoted couples. Sumit withdrew into himself, his once bright smile replaced by a shadow of despair. He barely ate, barely slept. Jenny tried everything to reach him, cooking his favorite meals, suggesting walks in the park, even encouraging him to visit Nanny's temple for solace. The rift grows. Sumit's parents, however, saw his grief as an opportunity. "This is what happens when you stray from your family's path," his mother said during a tense conversation. "If you had married someone we approved of, Nanny would still be alive to see her great-grandchildren." The accusation was a dagger to Sumit's already broken heart. "How can you say that?" he snapped, his voice rising. "Nanny loved Jenny. She accepted her when you didn't." But his mother's words planted a seed of doubt in Sumit's mind. Was he to blame for Nanny's passing? Had the stress of his choices, his rebellion against tradition, taken a toll on the woman who had always stood by him? Jenny could see the torment in his eyes. "Don't listen to them," she urged one evening as they sat on their rooftop terrace, the city lights twinkling in the distance. "Nanny loved you for who you are. She wouldn't want you to carry this guilt." A farewell ritual. The day of Nanny's memorial arrived, and Sumit felt a mix of dread and longing. He wanted to honor her, but the thought of saying a final goodbye was unbearable. Jenny stood by his side, dressed in a modest saree, her hands clasped tightly around his. As they arrived at the temple, Sumit was overwhelmed by the outpouring of love for his grandmother. Friends, neighbors, and distant relatives had gathered to pay their respects. The priest led them through the rituals, chanting prayers that echoed through the sacred space. When it was time to scatter Nanny's ashes into the holy river, Sumit hesitated. Jenny placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "She's watching over you," she said softly. With trembling hands, Sumit let the ashes slip into the water, the river carrying them away. As he watched the ripples, he felt a strange sense of peace. Nanny wasn't truly gone. She lived on in his memories, in the lessons she taught him, in the love she'd given. Finding strength. In the weeks that followed, Sumit began to emerge from his grief, though the pain of losing Nanny remained. He poured his heart into creating a small garden in her memory, planting marigolds, her favorite flowers. Every morning, he tended to the plants, finding solace in the simple act of nurturing life. Jenny stood by him every step of the way, proving once again the strength of their bond. "You've been my rock," Sumit told her one evening as they sat by the garden, the marigolds glowing in the moonlight. "I don't know how I would have gotten through this without you." Jenny smiled, her eyes shivering with tears. "We're a team, Sumit." Nanny knew that. She believed in us, and so should you. A new chapter. Sumit's loss had changed him, deepening his appreciation for the people he loved and the life he'd built with Jenny. He knew there would be challenges ahead, his parents' disapproval, the scrutiny of the world, but he also knew he had the strength to face them. "Nanny taught me that love is worth fighting for," he said one day as he and Jenny strolled through a local park. "And I'm going to honor her by living a life she'd be proud of." Jenny squeezed his hand, a smile spreading across her face. "She'd be so proud of you, Sumit. Of us." As they walked hand in hand, The sun setting behind them, Sumi felt a flicker of hope. The pain of loss would never completely fade, but in its place he carried the enduring legacy of a woman who had loved him unconditionally, and that he realized was more powerful than any heartbreak.